Alright people, let's take a look at the latest article on Warhammer community giving us more information about the revamped warbands in the Rivals of the Mirrored City. Coming to you just in a few days. Big changes up for Mawpike Thorns, Zarbags and the Spiteclaw's Swarm. Stay tuned. First up, let's check the big guy, who have now been quite revamped indeed. Gone is his move plus charge combo, and he's also -1 wound. He cannot be dealt more than 3 damage with an attack action, however, but I still think it's a nerf. Doing 4 or more damage is quite rare, at least up front, but landing 2 damage 3 attacks aren't that hard to pull off for most warbands, so let's hope there's stuff in the deck to boost his survivability further, or he might drop very fast. He at least cannot be driven back anymore with the steadfast, otherwise his attacks are mostly unchanged. Next up is the Static Squig, who now have lost his attack, or her I guess, on the uninspired side, but hexes adjacent to it are now snare hexes for enemies, which is a nice little buff. Also, he is on guard, so quite tanky, but can't be set up exactly anywhere anymore, with starting hexes in enemy territory and objective tokens being a no-go now. Inspired, he is those 2 smash 1 damage with cleave, so quite an okay attack if you manage to be in a position where you can actually attack with him. Since, yeah, he can't move, or be pushed for that matter. Also, although we don't get to see the cards for the Bat Squig, the text tells us that he now denies guard for nearby fighters, friends or foe though, which is a bit meh, honestly. Spite Shroom now seems to make adjacent hexes into lethal hexes for the enemies, which is a decent buff, but range 2 is pretty standard now, so I'm not sure on it, but still you can use Mawpike to push them close to the Shroom to ping them. Some cards here as well. Just Too Easy is scored when you deal damage to 2 fighters in the same turn, so a turn is activation plus power step, so that's quite doable really. Grumpy is an upgrade for Mawpike, which gives him a reaction to remove a move or charge after killing someone. If you remove a charge though, the card breaks, which I think is a nicely balanced design really. Unnatural Hazard is a ping damage ploy after you push a fighter adjacent to a minion. Should be quite doable to set up. It's not just a rock, is giving a move token to a fighter adjacent to an edge hex, blocked hex or the Static Squig. That should also see play and quite easy to find a situation to pull off. Solid control card. Lovely, and a hilarious artwork here. Tracing Intruders is a free move action, but if you use it you can't attack for the duration of the round. Not really fancy it for Mawpike, but still decent for the small ones I guess. But the Static Squig can't do free move actions either. It's still a move action and he can't do those, so just keep that in mind. Insatiable Appetite is +1 dice for a minion's attack and Grievous if there's 2 enemies out of action. Not terribly impressive unless the Bat Squig stat line is gonna be impressive. So that's it for Mawpike. Let's move on. Zarbag next. First up here is Redcap, which is safe to say probably the same as the other 2 Grot shooters, and he has now also got those 2 keywords, Grot and Shooter. He is 3 move, 1 dodge, 2 wounds, same inspired mechanic as before with 3 glory, and same attack profile, though only inspires to 1 dodge, which will very much be a nerf to this warband's survivability. The most interesting thing here is the Give Me a Volley Lads action that allows all shooters within 3 the ability to shoot in tandem. That's a very cool ability. It's just 2 swords, 1 damage though, so it's not going to be a massive damage dealer, but there is a nice little objective to go with it as well. The Scurry ability is still there, although it's not printed on this specific card. Next up is Snurk, who is revamped quite majorly. He is 3 move, 1 dodge, 3 wounds. I think he only had 2 move before, so quite nice to have him on 3 move. But his Ball and Chain has gained some accuracy here with 2 Fury, 3 damage instead of 1 Fury. So he's actually Hard Skull or Gore Hulk level dangerous from the get-go. His Inspired mechanic now triggers when he fails with an an attack. So either you do a whooping 3 damage or you inspire. That's quite nice. Then inspired, he's very much the same as before with some cleanup in the wording here basically. Then we have some cards like doing 3 ranged attacks in a round, so that synergizes well with the give him a volley lads ability. Survival of the Gittest for having 5 survivors and an extra glory if you score it in round 3. I still think it's a challenge even if we start with 9 fighters with the nerfed survivability there on the grots. Then we have a ploy, chew it over for a random effect of getting a guard or staggering all adjacent fighters. Both decent effects, but it staggers all adjacent fighters, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Then we have Fungal Blessing, which is just slightly reworded but the same as before. And Overconfidence is an upgrade for +1 dice. Very nice on, say, like an inspired Riskit or the Squigs, who, if unchanged, are 3 hammers, 2 damage, and I think the Squigs are cleave as well. Not so tall is a search for taking the beefiest fighter on the battlefield out of action. Quite a decent search unless you like play Mollog or Kanan, but versus like a warband with say like 3 or 4 4-wound fighters, that's a very solid card, and you don't need to kill them with an attack action specifically, just take them out of action. Thorns then. First up is the Queen herself, who is a level 2 wizard, no change there, with 3 move, 2 dodge, 4 wounds, 2 range, 3 swords, 2 damage, and inspires pretty much the same as before, although a bit cleaned up. And has now gotten the Wave of Terror, meaning she counts as 2 supports if she has a charge token. It's actually quite strong because that seems to be on all of the cards, so every charge fighter is giving out double support, so that's really nice actually. Inspired, she's actually nerfed with her 3 damage taken down to 2 damage Grievous, but I think that's fair. They were always quite strong in the damage dealing department. Varklov then, interesting news here with the former Shadespire Warden now being a level 1 wizard. Very interesting, and that opens up the venue for potential spell builds for them. I think especially, yeah, I think both spell decks are more viable with 2 wizards. 3 move, 1 dodge, 4 wounds, so he's lost a dodge uninspired actually, and he's also lost a damage inspired, but I think that's also fair. It's a horde warband, the major fighters shouldn't be too crushingly strong. His push ability is now called Solemn March, and it only allows you to push 2 chain rasps, 2 hexes, and you also have the option to give them charge tokens after that push. That's very interesting. Cards then. A spell first, Sudden Mugging, cast on a single focus, and if cast, you get to choose a chain rasp and place it on an empty hex, and if not adjacent to an enemy fighter, you get a charge token. So synergy with the Wave of Terror there obviously, and possibly also like an end phase objective for having charges on everyone maybe. Then we have Backshanker reaction. During a friendly fighter's attack action after the declare attack action step, you can take a minion and place them next to the target and give them a charge token. Unliving Overseer is an upgrade for a non-minion, which gives you a reaction to choose a chain rasp after you activate and push said chain rasp 1 hex or make an attack action with it, and then break the card. So sets up support, get on a token or make attacks. Pretty versatile, although the card breaking hurts a bit. Then it's Grasping Thorns upgrade for the Queen herself, which also gives you reaction to push the target 2 hexes after a successful attack action, but the push has to end adjacent to her. I think we will have to see the whole deck to gauge this card, but it doesn't seem all that strong initially. Unbound Crooks is remove a friendly fighter with no move or charge tokens and then place them in no one's territory with a move or charge token. I think this could definitely be useful, not least for like a fearsome fortress. Might also be a end phase for having fighters in all territories or something like that. That's it. And now for the grand finale. Rats. Scritch first, and he's gained a dodge on his uninspired side. Very welcome, but also very expected really. It's a sensible buff for upgrading this warband. His halberd is the same uninspired, and so is his inspired condition as well as his race mechanic, even though it now has a name. He does gain the schemer though, meaning that he gains Grievous if he is supported by a minion, so anyone except Kirk. He does gain Cleave Inspired instead of that weird Cleave on a crit that he had before, but loses damage sadly, but also has the Scything 1, range 3 Fury 1 damage with the Whirling Halberd. With Grievous, And a nice little addition here is that the Grievous effects stack, so if his scything is supported by a minion, that's actually Grievous too. Nice. Kirk then, still on one shield uninspired, but just like I said while talking about them in my card building video, I said that if this warband were to be redesigned today, he would probably be range 2, and here it is. Very welcome, really. 2 range 2 smash 2 damage is a very solid stat line for a lieutenant type miniature. He does now though go to 2 dodge instead of 2 shields, which is meh, but okay. I think a warding spear makes more sense being blocked rather than dodge, but never mind. He has some very interesting additions though. He now becomes the leader when Switch dies with the Kirk leads, which he formerly needed an upgrade to do. And the Kirk Rules Now reaction allows you to draw 2 power cards when Squish dies. He really does not want Squish to live. Very fun Skaven plotting here. Cards then, Vermintide is dual for there being 1 or more survivors in enemy territory and having more survivors than the enemy. A bit matchup dependent, but generally doable with them. Still just 1 glory. Verminous Backstab is +1 dice if supported in the next activation, and a Shoes Ploy at the same time, so you inspire them. Pretty nice one. Expendable has then also been revamped with Completely Expendable. Not sure the name really needed to change, but fine. It's been nerfed though, but probably for the best. This fighter has no bounty, and when the fighter dies the card breaks. So a major nerf indeed, from pinging your opponent and actually keeping the card. Ruthless Dodger is an upgrade with a reaction. I think this is the old card art for Bodyguard for a price. I didn't think that one made much sense, with Squitch being on guard when Kirk was adjacent, when indeed Kirk just wants Squitch to die. This one does though, with the ability to choose a minion within 2 hexes when you take damage, and then you can have the damage being put on the minion instead, and you break the card. A nice little defensive buff there for, say, Squitch or Kirk. Last here is Squitch is the greatest revamped into I am the greatest. Yes, I certainly liked the old title better, but this makes more sense now, with Kirk now being even more likely to lead with a kill search for your leader. Nice. Alright, so quite an overhaul here, especially for Mollog, which is a huge one with the move plus charge combo gone and the 7 wounds as well. Overall, I am very intrigued to see what the full decks here and the fighter cards will show us, so stay tuned for the full reveal coming to you very soon, and click all the buttons and comments and yeah, just do it. This is Mats again, chiming in to thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment, and to not miss out on future content, ring the bell as well. And if you really liked this video, feel free to click the thanks button just below this video. And if you want to support me even further, you can now become a channel member and claim the title of Critical Focus Fan. Until next time, take care, bye.